Namaskar and welcome to this exciting episode of Sattology, debunking mythology. Sat means truth, logos means study or science. Sattology means a science of truth or study of truth. Opposite of that is mythology, which means a study or science of fake, lie, or imagination, coming from the Sanskrit root word myth, ma, chota e ki matra, and tha, tha, na, tha. And also there is a halant in the bottom. That's how all the English words are made on roots coming from Sanskrit words, which are also made from roots. So mythology word was purposely coined. Now I'm gradually getting more closer to the history in the early 1800s to prove to the new colony of Britain, or in future the new colony by the East India Company, to be the actually the history of the Indians or Hindus or the natives of India to be a fake. That's how the word was coined. Gradually, it began to be used for South American history and other history. Now, one more thing happened was that if today you call any of their history, like the people who follow Brahmic cultures, as mythology, they get very offended. But the same people, and also some of the people who are Hindus, they also call their own history as mythology. Some of the South Americans call their own history as mythology. I have very, very special guest who he's an author, executive producer, and he was part with very major channels. And also might be a producer in the future. He's a TV director. So let us welcome Shri Yashendra Prasad.
Namaskar. Namaskar. Nice to join you, Aditya. It's a pleasure to join you again.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure is mine. So Yashendra ji, the recent incident in Gyanvapi, which has literally shocked everybody. But one more thing it comes here. This Shivji is followed by majority of people. Majority, like you say, 95% of the Hindus or 100% of the Hindus, they have deep faith in Shivji. It goes beyond like all boundaries. Shivji is like the universal. But the incidents in India just show, and these are the same people who in the past were not happy with Indian culture and the Sanatan Dharma or Vedic culture. But this incident has opened the eyes to the extent at which people can go. First of all, before we get started, what is the history of Gyanvapi, and then and how much pain it has caused to the people with the recent findings?
See, there are 12 places in India, Indian history, right from ancient times, which have got major Shivalingams. Shivalingam is the stone symbol of the masculine force, which is Shiva, and it is always embedded in a symbol which is called Unity, which is the feminine force. So Shiva and Shakti. These are the masculine and the feminine. So these are universal principles of creation. So there are innumerable Shivalingams people have in their house also. This small different sizes of Shivalingam. But there are 12 major Shivalingam, which are called Jyotirlingams. Jyoti means light. So they have the 12 places have special importance as far as their vibration, impact, and the place in the Indian history, ancient tradition is concerned. So, and the most important place, most important of them, of these 12, is the Kashi, Benares. So, whenever any person outside India thinks about Indian culture, Hinduism, Sanatan Dharma, Vedic, or whatever, Eastern mysticism, the first place which comes to their mind is Kashi. I met so many foreigners, Europeans, Americans, Kashi, Varanasi. So, and Kashi or Varanasi is one of the ancient most cities of the world. Nobody knows how old. There was one research by IIT Kharagpur, which proves that this is as old as, at least as old as the Indus Valley civilization. So that is, goes 5,000 years and beyond. So, how old that is. And nobody knows the origin of this, the Shiva temple, the Jyotirlingam over there, which was known as Avimukteshwar. So, in all our ancient scriptures, Puranic and whatever, Ramayana, Mahabharata, wherever we read, we find references. Even in Buddha's history, when Buddha attained his enlightenment on the full moon day of Vaishakha, which, incidentally happened, was yesterday and day before yesterday, the full moon of Vaishakha Mass. So he started preaching his Dhamma, the teachings of Sanatan Dharma, Arya Sanatan Dharma, near Kashi. He came to Kashi. There is a place called Sarnath. So there is mention of that place again over there. So we don't know how old it is. And entire Indian culture, our traditions are, embedded with the mention going to Kashi, seat of learning. So many gurukuls were there, ancient universities, Sanskrit and different sciences. So many things. Even the story of Jesus Christ, there is a mention that Jesus had visited Kashi also. That sold. So what happened when Mughal invaders, when Islamic attacks started happening on the country, so many times it was attacked, the temple was destroyed. The first was Kutubuddin. And the last time it was destroyed, rebuilt, but Aurangzeb was the last one who demolished the Avimukteshwar. There are so many stories with that. The priest of that temple, he took the lingam and jumped in the well, So these type of stories are there. So they're very sad. Anyway, what has happened? So Mughal times it happened, and one particular thing about Gyanvapi. Vapi is the name of the well. Vapi means well, and Gyan means knowledge. So that well of knowledge, that well also, and the water body over there, small pond, that also has got ancient importance in our scriptures. So, and one particular thing about this Gyanvapi, which people know, that when the Mughals destroyed it, they did destroy the complete building. They deliberately kept part of the structure intact, along with the symbols and many other things. So, it is written in the book of Aurangzeb to serve as a reminder to the Hindus that how they were brutally oppressed, how their culture and the tradition were, ravaged by the invaders. So, and that can be seen, it's evident. One look at Gyanvapi, it is half temple which has been renovated as a mosque. Anyway, after independence, it's sad that Indian government never took interest in this. This matter should have been settled, after 1947. Anyway, so what has happened? We know the case was going on, and a survey was ordered by the court of the entire premises, which took place. And yesterday only, a huge Shivlingam has been discovered inside the pond, the water bird. The saddest part is that that pond is being used by them, the Islamic community, as the place of wuzu. Wuzu is a place in any mosque where before offering the namaz, the prayers, 5 times prayers, the Muslims do ablutions. They wash their feet, their hand. हिंदी में बोलते हैं कुल्ला करते हैं, मुंह हाथ साफ करते हैं. They wash their hands, their face, do ablutions before going for the prayer. Now just imagine, the entire place was in their custody. They have been, Mughal rule is long gone. India has become independent. Now their descendants are all Indian citizens. They are our, brethren. We all live here as Indians. They know this place is of such great heritage importance, national importance. Our emotions are attached to it. So they should have surrendered it and gave it to the Hindus, by themselves. That didn't happen. On top of it, they have been doing ablutions on one of perhaps the most sacred symbol of Hinduism. So that is Shivlingam. And Avimukteshwar Shivlingam, they are doing ablutions over there 5 times every day. Then they realize it, what insult they are, inflicting on the Indian civilization, on their fellow brothers and sisters, who are Hindus and Indians. All of it's a matter of great shame. And again, on top of they are making excuses, though this is, some type of garden, garden shower. This is very shameful, and this is it's a big pain to us. We feel so sad. Oh my God. If you had known this, at least you should have said, you should have maintained the decorum, maintained it, given it respect, proper. It's a minimum thing. We may not accept, I may not accept all the great people, I may not leaders and great people in the world, but I have to maintain a public decorum, At least I must respect, irrespective of whether I like the ideology or not, whether I follow the ideology or not. So, it's so sad, and we are fighting legal case. It's so shameful and painful for us. Fighting home. We are not fighting foreigners. We are fighting fellow Indian citizens with whom we have been living from generations and generations. When the country was divided on communal lines, two separate countries. First, Pakistan was especially out for the Muslims. It became in two, Pakistan and Bangladesh. So they had the choice. Go there, the Islamic countries will be there. Now, if you decided to live in India, to at least live in harmony, respect other symbols, respect the national symbols of national, heritage. It's just not a matter of just religion. It's a matter of emotion, heritage, history, Indian national symbols, national places, souvenirs, memorials. You are showing utmost disrespect. Isn't it a matter of agony? I hang my hand in a shame as an Indian. My own fellow brethren of this country, Muslims and Hindus, we have got so many, my close friends said, no, all of you have been doing this kind of ablution for our Shivlingam. Nowhere in history of humanity such insult has been, and continuous deliberate insult has been inflicted on any society and civilization which has been inflicted on Hindus. And we have been tolerating, accepting all. Our religion doesn't preach that, others are bad, kill others. No. We say truth is one, it is expressed in a different way. Maybe Quran expressed in a different way. We respect Quran. I respect Quran. We respect Prophet. We respect Jesus. No problem. We respect all spiritual thoughts of philosophy. Well, I may not follow all of them. I may follow only my particular choice. But doesn't mean insulting. Remember, in France, some cartoonist had drawn a cartoon of Prophet Muhammad. And what happened? The entire world remembers. He was beheaded. I am forgetting his name. But all Muslims of the entire world, they were up in arms. There's so much violence. And you yourself are doing this on this great land of India, Bharatvarsh.
So I'll have to ask you one more, just an intervention, and then you can continue. So the city of Kashi was created by Shivji himself. Like Ayodhya was created by Manu, and Kashi is most of the Puranas say it was called Anandavan. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Puran also. Yes. Anandavan was created by Shivji himself. Mahabharata also mentions it. So one of the oldest living cities of the world. Now I'll contrast this to the colonization of USA, Britain, by Britain, of USA, Canada, and Australia. These three countries are still controlled by the British origin people, maybe any origin, but English is the language over there. The Native Americans till date, all their religious places have been freely violated anytime. So it looks like the same mindset of colonizers also working in India, same mindset, where the local, they have no respect for the local culture. Only difference is in India, the Hindus are in the country of India is because of Hindus, because of the development policies and all those things. So what do you see, if you can compare the colonization mindset, and it is the same mindset where you are showing in the land of Hindus, you're showing that yes, we are also standing our faith, and no recognition of the fact that the people like Aurangzeb who destroyed things, especially Hindu temples, that's what they attacked them. So, and also I heard that in the Islamic thought process, to worship at any other somebody else's place of worship, to destroy them, is not considered bona fide by their own culture. So, what do you have to say on colonization and also breaking of the temples and offering their prayers on top of those broken structures?
See, all the people of the world, those people who do not understand finer human values, not to speak of higher spiritual values, those who are hedonistic, they are materialistic, their senses are rooted to matter, and those who have got this pervert ideology or philosophy that by looting others, by destroying others, by exploiting others, they will grow. Such people are called basically evil. You know, those people, wherever they have gone, whichever community, wherever they have gone in the world, what they have done, they have destroyed the natives. They have destroyed the native culture, the culture of the land. That is why Native Americans, which you are mentioning, they are almost wiped out. They were forced to live in guarded protected areas, protectorate kind of something. There's a typical term for it. Their culture is gone because those people who went to capture USA, now them as uncivilized. Europe, there is a term called pagan culture. Europeans, modern Europeans call them backward, tribals, pagan culture. Without realizing, because those people, and the natives, they were living in with a sustainable form of economy. Their lifestyle has been sustainable. They never destroyed nature. They used natural resources only as much as which can be recharged, recreated, recycled. But the modern culture, which has come in last few hundred years, particularly after Industrial Revolution, little before that also, they went out, the Spanish, the Portugals, the Portuguese, we know about Vasco da Gama, we know about Columbus, Christopher, we know about Amerigo Vespucci, in fact, after whom America is named. And the Native Americans are called Indians because basically he had gone to look for India. He landed at some other place, which is now America. So he thought that he has reached India. So he all his life he kept thinking that he had reached India. So that, but I'll tell you, I'll still differentiate uh, between two things, two aspects. One has been the colonial powers of Europe. They have been very destructive, no doubt about it. Wherever they have gone, the core most have been the most destructive. But this Islamic invasion which has happened in India, like Mongols, the Uzbeks, the Kazakhs, the Turks, the Arabs, the Afghans, Pathans, they were out and out, barbarous, barbaric. Like, they were brutes, brutal animals. They came and they slaughtered. When Nadir Shah attacked India, he reached Delhi, lakhs of people beheaded. People were, the heads of, dead bodies were lying all around. Such was, when Gori attacked, when Abdali attacked, when so many Ghazni attacked. So they were brutal, they had no philosophy any time. They were using the name of Islam. Islam is has a very aggressive ideology, but somehow I don't feel that the original teachings are as bad as the way they have misapplied us. And the irony is that today in the land of Arabia, Saudi Arabia, the same people who have got different factions, the Wahhabis are the most, uh, fundamentalist and most cruel of the lot. They have destroyed almost all places associated with Prophet Muhammad. The place where he was born, the place where he used to stay, the places of his wives, they are destroyed. So they are so destructive, they're so brutal, they don't have mind. I mean, they don't apply their brains, no feeling. They're destroying others and they are destroying themselves also. Now, what has happened in Afghanistan when the U.S. Army withdrew? You saw how brutes they are. They're hanging on the airplanes. Comic scenes. They are on the wings, on the exhaust of the airplanes. They are hanging. They are falling from the sky. In 21st century, what would you call those people? These are the people who have invaded India. You can't talk to them. That's why I'm saying they're destroying their own Islamic places. I used to think sometimes, when later in Saudi Arabia becomes, more little, more open, we may get, some chance to visit the places of Hazrat Muhammad, to look at those historical places, but they have destroyed. Amazing, it's shocking, and that is why I'm. And okay, now they invaded, they destroyed our university. Nalanda, Vikramshila, Takshashila, Udantapuri, Nadia, Telhada, so many universities and every places they targeted. They targeted our libraries or storehouse of knowledge, a storehouse of books, and they targeted the scholars. Typically targeted Brahmins. Now Brahmin term has been maligned deliberately. They were the scholars. They had devoted free of cost. They used to teach. They were the scientists. Most of them, they targeted. So brutal they were. They, not once, many times, 3 times this Kashi temple has been destroyed. Okay. Now we say, chalo bhai, pehle beet gayi so baat gayi. India has become independent. Now you are so many generations. You should realize that your ancestor had done such, horrible crimes. Forget, you say that, okay, past is past. Let the past bury its dead. Let's start with a new beginning. Let's live in harmony. Ready? We are all the time ready. For every small, had this incident of Gyanvapi happened with any Islamic, any Muslim place, you would have seen bloodshed in India. They don't tolerate. You would have seen bodies being, they would have just taken arms. Their entire families. We have seen in Shaheen Bagh what has happened. Now Indian government was just giving them, space. All over in Bengal, in Kerala, they speak freely against this nation, civilization, Hindus. You preach whatever. We don't have any problem. But don't denigrate others. Don't insult others. Let us allow ourselves to restore our places of our national heroes. Now, Ram, Krishna, Guru Nanak, Shiva, all these, they are our national heroes of the past. What will happen, if Abraham Lincoln Memorial, the Statue of Liberty is attacked and vandalized by others? No, what kind of intolerance will the world, and the world is watching the so-called secular people? They have nowhere to hide. So I'll tell you very frankly, our a very strong opinion in India is emerging that in 1947 the country was divided on communal lines, and we have great regret. We feel ashamed of our own leaders. One of whom became our prime minister, one of whom who became the so-called father of a nation. We have always respected right from childhood, but what we realize They divided the country on the communal lines. About 30 to 40%, I don't have the exact data, of our land was clearly marked for the Islamic, so that Muslims, okay, you go there and live in peace. Still, some of them decided, no, 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 we'll live in India. Fine. When you live in India, we called ourselves secular. But secular doesn't mean that you start insulting, denigrating others. And national places of national importance, national site, national emotion. Now, Kashi, Kashi is a place for humanity. When you go to Kashi, we visit Kashi so many. Foreigners are flood that place. Once I met, many times I met so many foreigners. Once I met, architect, very senior old person, architect from Milan, Italy. So he was looking for the Vedic architecture science. He had come for research. I asked him, why did you come to Kashi? He said, I thought of finding, the original books of the Vedic architecture. I had never come to India. The first place which I thought of is Kashi. So he took flight. He landed in Delhi, took, the connecting next flight to Paris. He came out of the hotel and asked everybody, where can I go? So they want to go to the Benares Hindu University. So my uncle was head of department of, the visual arts. So at that time I was there. So I was also doing the research on same Vedic Sthapatya, architecture. So I met him. So Kashi, foreigners of every country. Ghat of Asi, there is a Asi Ghat in Kashi, on the banks of Ganga, where Ramcharitmanas was written by Tulsidas. You will find an institution over there which is doing research on the history and origin of form, the form, different forms, iconography, architecture, fine arts. And this foundation was established by Alice Bonner, an Austrian lady. And she has been given a Padma Award. She is I think, Padma Bhushan, Alice Bonner Foundation. She spent her life over there in Banaras. Then I went there. Another Austrian lady, Alice Bonner, was no more. She had passed away when I went there. To Bettina Baumer, another very senior Austrian lady, was in charge of that. And they are doing so marvelous research. Then you might have heard the name of a French musicologist, Alain Danilé. He has done great research on Indian music. Now, he had come to Benares. At least you research papers you'll find on music in Benares. Kashi is a place of, history of music, traditional Indian classical music, variety of dance forms. And I'll tell you the seat of knowledge. Kashmir and Kashi, these have been two most important seats of learning throughout Indian history, right from ancient times. So we hear about Takshashila, we hear about Nalanda and so many, but Kashi and Kashmir, these have been throughout present. Now that Kashi, where it's an international place for, it's a heritage of humanity. I think it has been declared also. In some way or that, I don't remember the exact thing. United Nations have declared
it is a heritage city. Yes, it is a heritage.
It is a heritage city.
Now,
humanity.
Yeah,
please.
I want to so now, if you go by the international media, international academics, suddenly they'll start lecturing Hindus, be patient and tolerate, and they will be. I'm sure the US Congress, somebody will speak that how the intolerance is going in India. But the truth is that Hindus are working through the court. Nobody is taking direct action. There is no protest. Obviously, feelings are hurt. Some people will be out on the street, which is very natural. It will happen for the same thing. If a church was vandalized in the US, people will come out on the street. Many church members, church supporters. So the the one remarkable thing about Hindus is that despite being attacked so viciously on the faith, where the shivling is kept under the water, where people are washing their feet and hands and and cleaning their mouth in the same place,
Ablutions.
ablutions. English words are very funny, so I don't want to use ablution or anything. Very funny word. It can have many meanings. So the point is, the people are doing all these things, but still Hindus are so patient. They're working through the courts. That is a one remarkable thing. And if any US media or any other media takes out any report against it, they should see the behavior of Hindus. What a civilized way they are reacting to it. Even though it is they're hurt beyond repair, I can. People are calling me personally, and they're saying how much what they feel right now. But everyone is waiting patiently for the courts and the state government and the central government of India to react. Now, coming to the same point, how do you, if there is a negative report in the American media or the Western media attacking or supporting, or again talking about protecting in minorities, well, in those countries minorities are not protected. They're regularly attacked. It just happened, the gunshots in Buffalo. You can see that guy, he had written a whole 18-year-old boy, but written all the mentally, also mentally sick also, but he had written all the racist comments. People say 800 words of thing that why he doesn't like the blacks. So that happened just recently, last this weekend. Now, if you, so this, all these reports in the media will be out. So how do you think the Hindus of India will react to such media reports, international media reports?
First of all, India exists since thousands and thousands of years before US was born. Okay. So we are existing here since tens and thousands of years. We give a damn to all these, kiddish, sheer ignorance. We know what the USA is. It's a great country, has done great things. In spite of it, we feel that the most racist country, if you on this planet, is the USA. And this is so evident. We have seen the last elections, Trump and Biden. What happened over there? What preceded that? You know, and the kind of apartheid which has been practiced by the British when they were in India, they were in Africa. We have seen Nelson Mandela's fight over there. In Europe itself, we know the history. All the ancient cultures. We have seen what happened in Germany by Hitler. They are all Europeans after all. Today in Ukraine, what is going on? Ukrainians as well as the Russians, they are both are Slavs. But the Ukrainians, there was in fact a television program in the US where it was mentioned by some of the anchors that this community of Ukrainians is more civilized than the Russians. This was it was taken as a big offense, and a war over on Twitter had broken out. So even in Ukraine, racial is based on racism. The war on Ukraine. See, the United States is not fighting Russia straight away. It is using Ukrainians to fight their own war. It doesn't matter how many Ukrainians are going to die. The USA says it will fight up to the last Ukrainian. It doesn't say. The US government doesn't say it will fight up to last American. America is not involving its own people. They're giving technologies and arms and everything. Doesn't matter. Ukrainians are inferior race. It's deliberate racism by the United States of America, NATO countries, by the British. The Ukrainians are sacrificial goats for the sake of the United States. Doesn't matter what happens to them. And this entire thing is a mere show off. The humanitarian aid and so many things Why you are instigating, keeping, the Ukraine, in a war with you? Because you want to spread your wings, you want to take your nuclear arsenals, you want to take your military to the doors of Russia. You don't respect others' sovereignty. Russia has a right to defend. Ukraine is a part of Russia after all. Even this internet which we are using, why it started? How was it invented? When the US forces found, they discovered, in Mexico, the nuclear oils of Russia, then the US government asked the army and the scientists to develop a technology where data can be, delivered through multiple channels, where data is divided into multiple channels while being sent, and all the data is at the point of where at the receiver's end. So this is why the internet was invented. Internet is a technology, but whatever I am, my data is going through you. Before reaching you, it splits into multiple channels, and they all converge at one point. So, Cold War started over here. Isn't Ukraine? This is war of racial, racism. And India, you find we have caste, we have Varna system. We recognize, we live with each other in harmony. I have all friends, my entire colony, we have different castes, and we recognize, we respect each other. Divide ourselves into, after all, it's a democracy. I and you are not the same. We're different. You have a beard, I don't have a beard. So you belong to the community of beard people. I belong to, clean shaven. But we don't
Mustaches.
fight.
You belong to the mustaches
Yeah,
community.
I only. So 50% I am. So we don't start fighting. We recognize everybody's specific individual. There are so many. We believe in biodiversity. We believe in the more biodiverse we be our human society, our plant kingdom, our animals. That's why India has got such biodiversity. We recognize, we respect, we live in harmony. It's a media which, and the Western scholars, caste. We are talking about caste because we are different bio groups, and of course there are some fights and conflicts. That is even in a family, brothers are fighting. Father is fighting with son. There are real cases. Divorce is happening. It doesn't mean that it's on basis of caste. There is more family disintegration in the USA compared to India. So you don't teach us, about this. And I'll tell you, I'll use this opportunity to press forward. There are two newspapers, Washington Post and New York Times. They're out and out racial news.
So, even Americans don't trust them.
Anti-India propaganda for all nonsense.
No, even Americans don't trust them. Americans don't even read them. So, these newspapers are more popular in India, or people take them more seriously than US also. Hardly nobody.
Only some people.
Yeah.
Only some people. And let me tell you, the main question was, how will Hindus take this? Reports in America. I'll tell you, many Americas have been born and gone. Indian civilization, the civilization of Bharatvarsh, goes on and on. And we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. The world is one family. We are for all. We don't believe in, this kind of nationalism. Nations and countries are man-made. We believe in, basically, our nations, our concept of nation is not so strict that visas and passports are required. So we have seen so many Americas. You do whatever you want. You jump around. Doesn't matter to us. We have that, Alexander the Great attacked India, who attacked the Orient, is called great because he attacked the Orient. And when Genghis Khan attacked the West, he is called evil. So this kind of propaganda doesn't do. Hitler has been our friend. He is not our enemy.
So
he weakened our enemy. So all these kind of things, we don't support violence, but don't teach us all this kind of don't start propaganda. And if you do, is irrelevant to us.
So one line, just one line, because we are reaching the top of the hour now. Uh, so when we sum it up,
Yes.
we know everybody, everyone, most of the Americans, almost like 65% of Americans practice yoga, and and uh, and the advanced ones amongst the 60 or 65 million Americans who practice yoga, and Europeans also around 60 million. So 100 million people in the West today, Christian West, are practicing yoga. So if we want to summarize, and our channel is mostly watched by those people, mostly the yoga community, which is connected to us. So if we want to summarize that, the Hindu tolerance on all these, what do you call it, aggressive actions, and which history is unfolding now. History is undone. So whatever was told about Gyanvapi mosque was not correct. So in one line, how do you summarize the situation will come up in the future going forward from here? In one line.
I dread to talk about it because I talk about it, and I'll just add one thing. Yoga means awakening the universal consciousness in the individual consciousness. When you yoke them together, the latent universal, our individuality is not just one individual human being. The collective life, the country, the society goes along with. Hindus, for several hundred years, right about few hundred years, they have developed a weakness. We are tolerant people. We practice tolerance, but our problem is that we develop tolerance even towards intolerance. That is the problem of the Hindus. We have our shortcomings. That's why we are suffering. So we have to become intolerant to the intolerant. Our philosophy is of Gita. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya dushkrita. Protect the good, protect the good people, protect the truth, protect truth and justice, and eliminate and destroy the wicked people. That's why the police and army and the arms are there. So that has to be used. There is no other way. And practical terms, I just very strongly I demand from the government of India, if that one particular community not allowing India to restore its heritage places, then community should be, devoid of the voting rights. They should not have voting right to vote. In the constitution of the country should be amended. The same community didn't accept to go. Two different nations were created especially for them. They decided to live here, but they are not cooperating with the rest of the people. They are not allowing us to restore our heritage and culture. So then you can't have the voting rights. At least you live here, no problem, but you can't have voting rights. You can't have any governance in the formation of government. Laws, not also. We cannot have universal civil. I'm against that also. Why should India has its own laws? We don't need anything common to import from others. Those are invaders. They have come here. Why should be one law? No. Those who are living in India must follow the eternal principles of life and growth for all humanity. Believe in one world family in this country. You can't practice thing and say that you are better than others and you will kill others. No, that is acceptable. So I request the government of India through this program also to immediately amend the constitution, and we should start a movement. I will request Sattology also, your group, let us start a movement, signature campaign to request the government of India to take away the voting rights of these people.
So thank you so much, Yashendra ji, for coming on the show today, and thank you for all the viewers for watching. Do comment on the video and let us know your feedback. And just follow Yashendra ji. He is very popular amongst youth, and he actively is on the Facebook also. So thank you so much, and namaste.
Namaste. Thank you so much. To be on Sattology.